Hey aficionados, it's Umnia. From the sound of my voice you can probably tell I'm a little under the weather. However, it is a nice tribute to Charlie that my voice sounds this smoky. I'm on the mend and my voice will be back in top condition soon, but for now enjoy the dulcet tones, and I really hope you enjoy this essay. Poker Face Season 2 starts airing May 8th on Peacock for the US and Sky Now here in the UK. The Genius of Poker Face. The genius of Rian Johnson. The whodunit, the how catch 'em, the mystery genre has such a long history that it is basically impossible to impress audiences with anymore, especially fans of all its previous iterations. The maneuvers, the plot twists, the murders most foul, it's hard to break ground when you're working within an established formula, but especially one as reiterated, memified, proliferated, and ingrained in pop culture. They need to be meta or explicitly parodic, clever without feeling like pandering. One writer-director resurrected the form with such flourish and posture that he revived the viability of the genre for the modern day. I'm, of course, talking about Rian Johnson. Heavily inspired by Agatha Christie.
And for me, this goes back to the original source of inspiration for all of this, which is my love of Agatha Christie's work and her books.
He's found the way to adapt modern circumstances to a time-honored structure, bringing to life modern conflicts of class and power with the ever-camp, stylized flourish of detective work, always bookended with a grand reveal. Unlike the procedural, the propaganda, your serialized dramas, whodunits, how catch-ems, and mysteries can take up a much faster, more intricate, and more archetypal form, and play with expectations more liberally. Everyone is a symbol for something, and their connections and interactions symbolic of our everyday power structures. Mysteries are battlegrounds, and Johnson loves making the most, the absolute most, of those struggles. This has been true of mysteries for the whole history of them, in their tete-a-tetes across classes, always a pretty subtle, poisonous warfare. But for Johnson, the mystery isn't just mystery. It's a working-class parable between up and down and good and evil, and a miscarriage of justice, and especially of the truth. With Knives Out, that was amidst generational wealth of the New England variety, catty and petty, of the layers of delusion small and big that come before a sudden reversal. With its sequel, Glass Onion, Johnson took Eat the Rich and ran it to a scathing takedown set on the Greek Isles, aimed at the Elon Musk types who cushion stupidity in an image of genius. Rarely have any of these projects been what they seemed at first look. His works play with twists and turn out as social thrillers, manipulating the form and then reframing common points of view when it comes to the whodunit, yet maybe none do this as much as the Natasha Lyonne starring Poker Face, which releases its much-anticipated second season this May, epitomizing his atypical rupture, but with the how catch 'em. This is a series less defined by Poirot and Marple, but by road movies, a worn car for a woman with a wily Peter Falk affect to her. Far from the eleganza Benoit Blanc brings to the silver screen is the authenticity of Poker Face's Charlie. Curly, disheveled, unassuming, quick to make friends, quicker to sniff out a liar's bullshit. That's what underpins Poker Face's genius. An underdog story made for the underdog. Something more grounded, more procedural, and yet infinitely cinematic, camp, and playful. A show that reframes classic mystery tropes, but doesn't alienate their validity, playing with formula and sticking to the basis of what storytellers like Agatha Christie, like Edgar Allan Poe, like detective noir aficionados have cultivated for audiences throughout the years, layering the political inside very human sensibilities. All of this through empathy, where truth is a funny but really real pursuit, gritty like the cigarettes that its lead crushes under her car. The genius of Poker Face's structure. Poker Face centers Lyonne's Charlie Cale, a casino worker forced on a life on the road after running afoul of her powerful boss and his henchmen, played by a game Benjamin Bratt. Each episode subsequently follows her through the corners of America, inadvertently tumbling down a cast of quirky celebrity guest stars ranging from the likes of Adrian Brody, Judith Light, Charles Melton, Lil Ray Howery, among others in Season 1, and John Mulaney, Sherry Cola, Giancarlo Esposito, Cynthia Erivo, Kumail Nanjiani, and a whole squad of talents in Season 2, and whatever hot spoon of homicide they ladle up for money, for power, ego, or some other bite of greed. The show's structure plays out that we see these murders of passion or opportunity or convenience before we wind back to Charlie, who's working an odd job on the outskirts of whatever fraught interpersonal worlds the actors get to create, catching the culprit of the week in a little white lie. This format is not of the breed to what most people would think fits mystery. There's no intrigue or hidden agenda. We see exactly who, and we see exactly why. The fun of it is in the process of a discovery that we, the audience, but not yet Charlie, our surrogate into the mess, are privy to from the jump, waiting for the other gumshoe to drop. Though Charlie may be unfolding the truth of the murder and danger, it's the audience that gets set on a different unfolding, one of discovering empathy or uncovering hidden biases. We fall in love or start to hate, but no matter what, each episode and each story, unfolding like a short film almost, always leaves us with a richer understanding of our fellow humans, or able to access grief or joy familiar to us from our real lives, reimagined or reanimated by the show to process through Charlie's journey. It's not so Agatha Christie prestige, not like the Benoit Blanc movies are, because Poker Face is working on a different script, one that requires you to invest in the meat of the action in a very different way. Yet the way the show's format comes off is still defined by what Johnson loves most of what Christie was able to accomplish with her whodunit stories. To quote Johnson directly, "It creates a little microcosm world of society, and you have a power structure within that microcosm. It's something Agatha Christie always did. She was never a heavy-handed political writer, but she was always examining contemporary British society through the lens of all these different characters, and that's something we don't get nearly as much of in a modern American context. If Agatha did it for the Brits, Johnson and Co. did it for the Yankees, crafting new and beautiful Americana puzzle boxes sweeping through the nation and painting a picture of situational torments, the faded glitter of Laughlin, Nevada, to the slums of the Tennessee racing circuit and up to the snowy mountains of Colorado. Location is a juicy character in Poker Face. We move with the series from state to state and get a glimpse of their social scenes, and within them a broader perspective of very specific American problems. They are in a sense parables, not one of faith in the biblical context, but about truth and the people running from it, as largely metaphors for the problems in these people's lives they can't help but externalize with moral failure. The stall is an allegory for animal cruelty. A barbecue chef goes vegan and is smoked for it by his brother and wife, and they're ultimately exposed because they bludgeoned a dog to do it. Rest in Metal plays with artistic fealty and the price of stardom when an aged rock star electrocutes her fanboy to claim the life she thinks she deserves and gets more than she bargained for as Charlie starts sniffing around. And Season 1's best episode, Exit Stage Death, barely features Charlie at all. The setup begins as a diva battle between Tim Meadows and Ellen Barkin as rival actors, and shifts gears in the middle into a homicidal romance, with love, greed, and performance as principal players. This political parable struggle is important to Poker Face, if less so than the Knives Out franchise. Mysteries are class narratives between rich folk, class rich but money poor people against the nouveau riche, and all the many servants scurrying in between them. Poker Face upends that scope back onto the ones suffering the worst, the small-town innocents that get framed, and the ones desperate enough to commit murder to get out of their circumstances. Christie's stories are of reclaiming justice and exposing subterfuge reflective of the times they were created in. Johnson's mysteries do carry a clear message, but they explore good and evil in less nebulous ways than parables usually do. The feat, I feel, of this show is that it reads as one massively long, feel-good, iconic 70s film set in the modern day, which means you're able to process your modern emotions by escaping to a distant, nostalgic world, and this makes the show endlessly cathartic. But Poker Face's most important value is that it paints life with nuance and, critically, a stinging irony. After Charlie blazes past their towns, characters are rewarded with a happy or as close to happy ending for their virtue, or a shot in the foot for their arrogance by hilarious clues and tricks that trip up established personalities like Chloe Sevigny and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, be it a bit of film stock or a bowl of nuts or a racist MAGA dog. The human lie detector. This part of the video is for OBSCURAE paid aficionados, which is what we call the members of our site. Free membership means you get our weekly newsletter roundup of all of our unique independent coverage and access to our comment sections on the site. Paid membership is £5 a month, which gets you access to extended content, deep dives, ad-free and early access to our video essays, and if you get a yearly subscription, you get 17% off and a free 20-ounce OBSCURAE mug. Thank you in advance for supporting us to keep bringing you coverage just like this. As we look forward, Poker Face is to me and my friends as Black Mirror is to some, a serialized show that explores each different tiny facet of the things that scare us and intrigue us the most. Poker Face happens to be held together and helmed by one of, if not the most instantly iconic characters of the past decade of television, immaculately played by Natasha Lyonne, and manages to tie her one hero's journey into the plights of all of those heroes in between. I'm very much looking forward to season 2. I don't care what mysteries we uncover. I simply want to spend time with Charlie and whoever turns up along the way. And that is the definition of comfort television.